In this video, I will go over how to create something like this. In this one, I've mixed and mashed two different animals, or whatever, and created a completely new one. I got the idea from, those Google images of like a shark on a horse's body, something like that. Like the head of a shark on a horse's body, things like those. That's where I got this idea. Of course, those ones are more professionally done, much more time was spent on those. These ones, I'm just doing a simple version, but combining all of the things I've done so far, with the videos at least. This is something that kids can do, but the biggest hurdle, biggest problem, or the biggest challenge when doing something like this are getting photos that will work with one another. Obviously, the pictures that you get are important, but this one I kind of kept it as simple as I can. Here I have a ton of layers, but anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete everything except for, actually I'll delete everything because I do have my originals. Here I have this one, which is the same as this one. I just like to have original, I like to have the original pictures that I used in my layers, but I just lock them and I hide them. Anyways, so after 2 minutes of talking, I'll start, and I'll keep it simple and brief, hopefully. So, first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to stick with this picture here, and I'm going to grab this butterfly picture. I'm going to duplicate that, lock the bottom one, and move the new one up on top. There we go. And I'm just going to use one of these wings. So I kind of like this one more. It's a bit more brighter. So I'm just going to use the lasso tool and kind of get something like this. Not going to be too perfect. Get this. There we go. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to mask it. And actually I'm going to undo that. And I'm just going to see what's going to get cut off. So this. So I'm just going to press B. I have this brush from a different lesson. So there we go. And I'm just going to brush this. I'm going to hide the elephant and get this again. So I'm just going to erase this out. Stuff like that. It's okay if some of this is getting, the part of the butterfly is getting erased. I'm not too worried about that. So I have something like this. Maybe I'll go over here and see what I can grab from here. That's fine. So I'm just going to erase this and get something like that. Something like this. Okay. So I have this now, and I'm just going to apply the mask. Whoops. And just to be on the safe side, I'm going to control left click that, and then I'm going to invert that. Go to select, modify, and then feather. I'll do 1 pixel. I'm just going to delete it just a little bit. There we go. Just to smooth out the edges. Now I'm going to bring back my elephant, and here I have this. Now, I'm not a big fan of this, but I already know that I'm going to erase some of this afterwards. I'll just make like another mask if I need to. But, whoops. There we go. And next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to duplicate this. I'm going to Control T, and then I'm going to right click and flip horizontal. There we go. Move that over there. And now I have that. Press enter. And there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this to here. Maybe I could have waited because I'm going to make this bigger, so maybe I'll just do this for both of them. because I want to pretty much keep them as the same size or as identical as I can, even though the head is obviously kind of not equal on both sides. So I'll just leave it at that. Whoops, there we go. So I'm just going to align this to maybe the top part, or maybe this side. I'll align it to, I guess, the top part. Yeah, I'll just do the top part. So something like, I'm aligning to this side basically. This side. So something like that. I'm going to Control T. I'm going to hold Control and then click and drag. Kind of get this because those ears are at an angle after all. I'm going to grab this side. Do the same thing with that. Not too much actually. I'll grab this side. Maybe something like this. Something like that. Grab this. Turn it a little bit. Do some more over here. Do a little bit more over here on this side. Now the whole thing doesn't have to be covering it. There could be a little gap there. In fact, I'll leave it like that. So it kind of like blends in with like part of the elephant, part of like these things. So that's fine. So I'll just leave it at that. Press enter, and I'm just gonna hide this just because it's in the way, kind of. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to mask that. I'm going to grab my eraser, and I'm just going to erase this and just see what I have. So I don't want the front face to be blocked out. And then let's see, that's the other elf. I mean, that's the ear. So okay, let's see. Okay, so it's around this area here. So that's fine. I'll leave it like so. I'm going to get my brush, and I'm just going to brush back this part. Can get this, and if I want, I can actually go here and bring down the hardness to a much smaller number, something like that, and something like this. I'm not too concerned about that part there. Let's see, I want something like that. Maybe I can erase a little bit more, or just leave it like so. I'll erase it a little bit. Make sure to change the hardness down. I could also play with the flow, or the opacity. If I bring out the opacity, then the strength of my eraser is only 10%, which means that's 10%, 20, 30. I had to click it 10 times to erase it completely, which will get annoying, so I'm not going to do that. But the flow is kind of like the hardness, but it kind of erases a little bit outside of my circle in a way. I'll use that a little bit. So something like that. Probably make it a little bit stronger or weaker in this case. So yeah, something like that. I'm not going to spend too much time on this part, but yeah, I'm going to go to my brush. I'll do it one more time. Go to 15. So that's fine. And if I want, I can go back to my eraser and bring out my opacity to like maybe 60 and kind of have this combined or blended with this sort of thing. Maybe I can bring my eraser's opacity a little bit more, but it's not too obvious. I'm not liking that. I'll just do it like this. So there's that, and I can go ahead and You know, if I wanted to, I can play around with this part of the ear where it's kind of like, obviously there's more, my elephant's ears over here, not this far out. So if I want, I just leave that mask there. I can go back to here, or I can just completely erase part of that ear if I want to, but I'll just leave it like so. So there's that, and then I'll bring out this one over here. I'm going to move this like so. This one's a bit trickier, so I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do Control T and hold Control, click and drag. I'll do it from this side first, then bring in this side. So yeah, this something like that. Move my camera up here a little bit more. Do something like that. Undo that. Try it again. So just trying to see, making sure that it's kind of even on both sides, or matches the other side. So that's good. And then maybe this up here, I can kind of bring this up higher. Something like that. Maybe a little bit more. That's good. I'll press enter. I have my ears, and what I'm going to do next is I'm going to erase this, make sure that my flow and my opacity is back to normal, and I'm just going to go ahead and erase. Make my brush bigger, just get an idea how this is. Okay. Now I could just get my brush now and then just bring this back. My brush is flow, I need to change that back. There we go. I'm gonna bring this back now. If I want, I don't have to bring out the whole wing, but I kind of like that, like this. What I can then do now is I'll do the flow, leave it at that. Let me zoom in. I'll do something like this. Whoops. Let me try it again. Something like that. So I'll do something like this. I don't want to see this part of the butterfly wing, so I'll do that. Might do that over here as well. Actually, I'll just do it now. Something like that. So now that I have that, next thing I'm going to do is, now that I'm done with that, I'm just going to apply the layer masks for both of these. Apply. I don't want to do with the masking. Actually, just be on the safe side, I'll keep them. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and play with the colors. So hue saturation, and I'm going to do this. It applies to everything. So just going to hold Alt, click, there you go. So now it's just for this side. And it's an elephant, so I'm trying to think what kind of a color they would have, but I'll just leave it at this, just to give it more color, basically. And I'll do the same thing for this one. So adjustment layer, hue saturation, click and drag. I don't want them both to be the same color, so maybe do purple, just because it was already blue anyways. And hold Alt, click. Now it's just applied to that one. So now that I have that, I'm going to go ahead and give the elephant itself a hue saturation. So maybe something like, yeah, I'll just do hue saturation. I'm going to then, maybe I should give some color first. I'll do something that'll mix both of those. I guess that's fine. I don't know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and Whoops. Let me select everything, delete to remove the mask, deselect, and now, with my brush selected, I can go ahead and paint this. And I'll just paint over the tusks just because I don't want to waste too much time. So I have something like this, and because this is below these other ones, it's okay if I paint over those ears. And now that I got that done, I'm going to go ahead and erase some of this maybe. That looks not too plain. I'll lower the flow, maybe, I don't know. You have to play with some of these things, but I don't know, maybe, I have no idea. I'll just erase these tusks, the mask I mean. So I have something like this, and what I'm going to do next, maybe I'll give these tusks their own little adjustment layer. So I'm going to go ahead and this time I'll just use my mask, my magic wand tool, good for both of these. I don't care about getting too much, but I just want a mask, that way I don't have to erase them first, like I did with the elephant skin. And then I can go ahead and let's give it a color first. I'll do blue just to have it stand out. I'm not going to be too perfect about this, but there you go. And I'm just going to give this some color, maybe some red to make it kind of bloody-ish, I guess. Turn up to saturation. That's too much. There we go. That's pretty good, I think. Brush, make it smaller. Something like this. Things like that. Again, I'm just working with what I got. I'm just working with these pictures. But now I got some bloody tusks. In the sky, I can change the sky color if I want, so I'll just do that real quick. Hue saturation. I'm going to use my selection box M, or the marquee selection, and then just delete the mask that I had, and then just going to go ahead and maybe grab some using the magic wand tool. This did a pretty good job actually. That's fine. And now that I got that, let me get this tiny speck right here just because it's bothering me. There. Now that I have that, I'm going to go ahead and get an adjustment, get a hue, and just play around with the sky color, trying to see what kind of a sky color I can get. I'll just go like this, just give it some color. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I have two. What do I have two? Well, I think I clicked it twice. Well, I guess for this one what I can do is depress. Not going to be too perfect about it. That's fine. And for this one, actually, let me get my brush and just fill it in. Now I have some white right here, so now it's applied. And I'm going to grab that, or select that icon, and I don't know, maybe this could be blue. I'll turn saturation, leave it at 0, and then maybe bring the opacity down. So maybe something like this. And I'll go back to this color up here, the saturation. Maybe I'll leave it at this kind of a greenish. I mean, it was already green, but that's a little bit more green. It's a bit more vivid. Yeah, I can do some of this stuff with these wings now, now to think about it. I can go ahead and select this. Whoops, which one is it? Here we go. This one, and then I'm just going to go to here, and I'm going to click on that arrow, and I'm just going to click on normal. And with that, I have this selected now, and because it's blue, I can just use this down arrow to go down the list, and I can see the filters being applied to this, or the adjustment layer for this. I forget what it's called. The blending mode. The blending mode is my bad. There's a downside because I didn't erase part of the butterfly's wing. I can see the elephant's ear now. As a result, I could go back to my mask and erase part of that butterfly wing, but I'm okay with this actually, and this is the darken effect. This one is the darker color, but I do like this one actually. I can somewhat see through it, which is not what I want, but it's okay. So I'm going to do it for this one over here as well. Go to darken, there we go. Luckily for me, this kind of worked out really well. I got lucky. Usually I would go with the multiply blending mode instead, but this came out really good. Maybe I can go back to the elephant color. One thing is I should rename these, so ideally rename these, so BG underscore grass. This is the sky. I can tell because of what I have selected there. So BG underscore sky. These are the tusks. So tusk. I'll add that. And then this is the elephant. So elephant. And I can go back to the elephant hue and maybe change that up. Maybe I'm not a fan of it. Maybe it should be some other color. I think this is better actually. Maybe, not sure. I'll just go back to that one. And this part is irritating me, so I'll just go ahead and bring back the color for that. Whoops, not too much. Whoops, I undid it. There we go. So I'll bring this back, and I'm going to color this part. That's fine. And I'm just going to erase some of this from this tusk. Same thing with this over here. So I have this, and here's some more blue, and maybe I should color this part. So yeah, and maybe for this hue, I'll click on that icon for the hue, for the elephant, click on normal, and I'll just use the down arrow. So this is a darken effect, but it makes it green. It's combining with the original color of the elephant. I'm just going to go down the list. Multiply is kind of weird. This kind of looks nice, I think, maybe. So it's like that, or like that. In the end, it's just a preference, really. I'll just leave it back to here just because it's more on the colorful side. And then I can probably fix this over here. Whoops. I accidentally moved that hue mask. Let me grab this. And other things that I can do, let's see if I have it. I should. Here we go. I'm going to press enter. I'm going to move this up to the top. And I just want the eyeball, or the iris, and putting the surrounding eye. So maybe just use the lasso tool, grab this, not the best of job, that's fine, Control Shift I, whoops, I need to rasterize this, there we go, and I'm just going to go and erase a little bit using this, and there we go, something like that. And I just want to replace those elephant eyes. Maybe, you know, I'm not a fan of it, so maybe I'll try. That's fine, I'll just try this one. So I'm going to go ahead and transform this down a little bit, something like that. Maybe because this was on the other side, I'll do it like this, and then I will actually duplicate that, move that over there, and I'll just leave that there for now. And with this one, I'm just going to hold Control and do this, go with the perspective a little bit, see what's going to work, what isn't. Play around with that like so. So I'll do something like this. And I'll get a mask for that. And just going to erase this a little bit. Not all of it. I do have my flow. And I'm just going to grab my brush. Whoops. Grab my brush, bring back this flow, maybe I'll do it up a little bit like that. And yeah, it's a little too big, so I'll do something like that. And I'll go ahead and erase some of this. It is tricky, I'm not a fan of how this eye is right now, but I'll try and make it work. So that's a little weird, of course. I'm going to delete this one for now. I'm going to select this one, play around more with the perspective, make it fit in something like that. So I have something like that, and maybe I can bring back some of the dark part from that. So something like that. It's kind of very weird. I'm going to duplicate this one, Control T, right click, flip horizontal, and then move it across, move it up a little bit, press enter. Not exactly the best of eyeballs. Control T, maybe I can make it point this way more. Nope. I'll leave it at that, and I'll just add a, whoops, didn't mean to add the mask. I will add a hue, and let me do this real quick, and then maybe I want it to be red. Sure, why not? Now that I have that, I will go ahead and do the same thing. So I'm just gonna, it's a minus 43 value for that one. I'm gonna grab this one, do the same thing, type in, we'll just do that. I mean, this looks pretty cool anyways right here, but I just want it to be applied to the eyeball. There you go. There's my blood-eating or blood-drinking zombie something elephant. There you go.